सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ श्रीकृष्णपरमात्मने नमः। अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः कर्मयोगः। Further, Krishna said, ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः। श्रद्धावन्तः, people who have faith. Anasuyantah, those who do not find fault, not intolerant of the goodness in others. Ye, those. Manavaha, people. Me, my. Idam, this. Matam, teaching. Nityam, constantly. Anutishtanti, follow. Te, they. Api, even. Karmabhihi muchyante, are released by the karmas, karma phalas. Shraddhavantah anasuyantah ye manavaah me idam matam nityam anutishtanti te api karmabhihi muchyante. Those people who constantly follow this teaching of mine, full of faith, without asuya, without finding fault with the teaching or the teacher, they too are released by the karma phalas. They are freed from the hold of the karma phalas. They gain moksha. We have seen the three types of people who perform karma. One type were kings like Janaka, who were also jnanis, wise men, all of whom remained active even though they had the knowledge. They engaged themselves in activities simply because it was in their prarabdha to do so. They had to do it and therefore they did it. There was no reason not to. They had nothing to lose and others benefited from their actions. Those who do nothing but teach, having gained the knowledge, can also be included in this group, teaching being an activity. Sarva karma sannyasa is the renunciation of all activities in terms of knowledge alone. It is not to be taken literally, as we have seen. In terms of knowledge, you are not the doer. Knowing this frees you completely from all action, whether you perform activities or not. You may be a sannyasi or you may be very active in the world. In this way, then, there are two types of enlightened people, sannyasis and non-sannyasis with reference to lifestyle. But in terms of knowledge, there is Sarva Karma Sannyasa for both. Although Janaka was a king, engaged in a lot of activity, he was considered to be enlightened. Here, Krishna told Arjuna that even if he was enlightened, he could continue to do karma for the benefit of the world as Janaka did, for the sake of establishing dharma so that the people would be protected. Krishna knew very well what his own mission was, saying, "Look at me, I too perform actions, not because I have something to accomplish, but because if I do nothing, others will follow my example, which would not be good for them." All this Krishna pointed out. A second type of people who perform karma are avivekis, those who have no discrimination and therefore no desire for moksha. They are only interested in fulfilling their likes and dislikes for which they engage in activities. More often than not, such people cut corners and sometimes take the wrong path in order to accomplish their ends. These people can only be asked to come to Dharma. Let them pursue whatever they want to pursue according to Dharma. That itself is a blessing. As Brahmaraji requested yesterday, let us do sharing also so that the clarity happens. So, on one side, there are people like King Janaka who remained in the samsara and did what they had to do according to their prarabdha. And on the other side, the second type of people are avivekis who follow their raga dvesha, but they should not be stopped. They should be encouraged to follow according to the dharma. One's choice is surrendered to what is proper. Finally, for those who are mumukshu, who have raga dvesha, Krishna pointed out karma yoga. Such people can either take to sannyasa or karma yoga, either of which involves giving up tyaga. For a sannyasi, tyaga means karma tyaga as well as all other tyagas, covering any pursuit or attachment. The person has to grow out of each and every one of them, renouncing them all before becoming a sannyasi. So for here, for the mumukshu, he can either take to sannyasa or karma yoga. For sannyasi, it is tyaga, sarva karma sannyasa. He will renounce all the karmas. So naturally, karma phalas also. And or one can be a karma yogi. That is the second. One is sannyasi and another is karma yogi. Such a person does what is to be done simply because it is to be done. The karma yogi's commitment to moksha being what it is, his or her choice of action has nothing to do with what he or she likes to do. If, on the other hand, the emphasis is on doing what is convenient and what one likes to do, even a child will eventually question why he or she cannot do certain things. He or she will say, "Who are you to stop me? That is how you brought me up. Why, now that I am 16, are you trying to stop me from doing what I want to do?" It doesn't make sense. You have always asked me what I want, and this is what I want. The psyche tends to react in this way when this particular approach is taken. Such an approach is not always right, nor does the world necessarily operate in such a way. Therefore, what is proper becomes important. To do what is proper may involve sacrifice in terms of your own pleasures, your own likes and dislikes. Unless you can give them up, it is impossible to always do what is to be done, kartavya. Therefore, propriety, not convenience, should be the ruling factor, all of which is implied in Karma Yoga. So, very beautiful word brought here by Swamiji, Kartavya. That is the Swadharma. What you have to do, whether it is according to your likes or dislikes. You do it because it is required to do. A karma yogi is a bhakta, a devotee. Without devotion, without the awareness of Ishvara, there is no karma yoga. Having said all this before, Krishna again picked up this thread. Performing all activities for the Lord's sake is one great yajna, one great offering. What you have to do in the situation you find yourself in is done as something that is dictated by Ishvara, meaning karma. Karma is the law, and the law is Ishvara. The choice of doing this or that is given to you, and that choice is surrendered to what is obvious. Each situation is nothing but karma unfolding itself, and inherent in it is an obvious course of action, an expected action. This is what you do because this is how you have placed yourself based on your own past actions. And whatever are the results of the actions you perform, you simply receive them as prasada. So you do your duties, what is to be done at a certain period of time, and it is again it is nitya as mentioned in the shloka, as Bhagavan said. It is not that only sometimes, it is nitya. If you want me to repeat anything, please let me know. So, samyak kartavya, you nirvahana, you do your duties without following your raga dvesha. It may be out of your comfort zone, but you are doing it because it is to be done. And whatever results, whether it is as per your expectation or just opposite or not as per completely as per your expectation, you accept it as the prasada. So prasada buddhi, Ishwararpanam prasada buddhi. Whatever is you have received by doing what is to be done. So that bhakta, he becomes a devotee when you do such, when you are going out of your comfort zone and when you are doing your kartavya, then it is you become a devotee. You are out of bhakti. Yeah, please share your understanding. How Krishna's vision is to be followed. The verb in this verse is anutishtanti, meaning follow, practice, or live according to. Manavaha means those who come under the mandate of Manu, the ordiner of the law, that is Ishvara. In other words, all human beings. And how long do they live this way? Nityam, always. This is not just a morning or evening practice, nor is it a Monday, Friday, or Sunday practice. It is a constant practice. And what is it that is practiced? What do the people follow? They follow what was said by Krishna, his vision, me matam, this particular sadhana, karma yoga, and they follow it properly with Shraddha. Shraddhavantah anasuyantah, and with no intolerance towards the Lord, his vision, or the karma yoga that he has advised as a means for gaining liberation, moksha. The Shraddha mentioned in this verse is looking upon the words of the Shastra, the Veda, as unfolded by a teacher as true. Whether one understands these words to be true or not, one at least accepts them in good faith. This Shraddha extends to the words of the Gita as well, since the Gita does not say anything other than what is said by the Veda. The English translation for Shraddha is faith. Shraddha is operative when, even though these scriptures may seem to be contradictory according to your perception, you accept them and inquire into into their message. Shraddha grants you the disposition, the attitude necessary for further pursuit. So, the importance of Shraddha: when you follow the things with Shraddha in what you do, then that we all have experience, right? The Shraddha, Shraddha in the words of Guru, Shraddha in the Shastra, and in the words of the Shastra, and in the self. And then that grace happens, I think, with the Shraddha, that Shastra Kripa, Guru Kripa, Atma Kripa. Yeah, any sharing? So the word anasuyantaha, Bhagwan has used here. Anasuyantaha, the one who doesn't find fault in others. Arjuna knew that whatever Krishna Bhagwan is saying is good for his own welfare, so that he was Anasuya. So Nitya Anutishtanti Manavaha. So we have to remember that we have faith in our actions, in our sadhana, in our seva, in our satsang. And Anutishtanti Manava, we have to remain steady. If we are, like yesterday Brahmaraj is told, if we are following one sampradaya, then we have to have that shraddha in that sampradaya, and we continue our karma yoga. I think we are repeating this, we have been repeating, so I hope that you don't want me to repeat. We can go ahead little fast, or if you want to share, please do share, so that everyone, because as Brahmaraji told yesterday, that when we share, the point or the angle from which you are looking, I will be able, that unfolds to me also when we are sharing. So please do share. Hmm? What you can know is determined by what you already know. When you look at the Shastra in the form of sentences, you derive a certain meaning from it based on what you already know. Only on the basis of what you already know can you absorb or understand any sentence, in fact. In other words, you do not understand more than what you already know. What you will understand of the Shastra is determined by where you are coming from and where you are right now. Based on your past experiences and present understanding, there is a predisposition to what a sentence can reveal to you. Therefore, when you look at a sentence that has a new message to give, what can it give you? Can the intentions behind the sentence be understood? The intention of a sentence is important in communication. When someone forms a sentence, the person has an intended meaning to convey, and that meaning is what you should receive. Sometimes, however, the words spoken do not convey the intended meaning of the speaker. And even when the intended meaning is clearly conveyed, it is anyone's guess whether the listener or the reader will pick it up. This is especially true if the message is unlike anything that the listener already knows. Whereas if the message is similar to what he or she knows, it is much easier for the person to pick it up. Using the knowledge he or she already has, the person can go further in his or her understanding of what is being conveyed. But if the message is entirely dissimilar, meaning that it is against everything the person has so far concluded about himself or herself and the world, it is not even mind boggling, it simply sounds silly. So, simple process of communication, Swamiji has explained here that when the sender and receiver both are having the common platform, that is important, that it is whatever intention with which the sender is sending the message.
Jai
And
Gurudev.
the, yes, dear.
Most of them, this communication, this is where everybody is stuck. They don't understand
Yes,
the spirit of the words. They're caught up by the words and they throttle people each other by holding on to the words. It's a big problem happening in every society and every family. You said like this,
very,
you use that word.
hmm,
They don't understand the
and
spirit. Yeah, carry on. Propellers.
very true. And then they say, my intention was not that.
After saying
I didn't mean that.
I know, after saying everything, you say, "No, that was not my intention. Oh, I didn't mean like that, correct? It's a bit, we're caught up with this. That's why
Hmm,
that satsang mein shabdon ki jangal mein, you know, you
hmm,
remember beautiful satsang song actually. शब्दों की जंगल में तुमने बसा. It's very nice.
hmm. If you know, then sing Bimalti ji one line. Or very beautiful.
We are caught up in the shabdon ke jungle mein, we are caught up and we're not able to
Hmm,
see the real essence of our life.
hmm. Very beautiful. Hmm. It's so true. Even whether we take it in personal life or in professional life.
Yeah, the communication skills nowadays, the workshops are held this subject.
Yeah.
Mm. Yes.
And now there are so many channels available. There are all social media platforms. There are so many. So
Yes,
it has become very serious issue. The
yes,
people are
yes,
so much caught up in indirect ways of communicating
yes. Correct.
that
Yes. That they're able to connect more with social media than real people around
hmm,
because they have this issue. Mm.
very beautiful, yeah. So when the message here, the point is when the message is entirely dissimilar to the understanding of the person who is receiving, then it becomes mind boggling. He may find it silly also. How can everything be one when all I see are differences? To say that these differences are false, that everything is mithya, when so much of what is experienced is tangible, the walls, physical bodies, objects, even the microbes that bother me so much, makes no sense whatsoever because everything seems to be so real. This is because the word mithya is not properly understood, nor do the various translations help. One will translate mithya as false, another as illusion, and still another as delusion. To say that the world is any of these does not agree with my experience. To say the world is an illusion is itself an illusion. The very concept is an illusion. If you consider the world an illusion, where does that leave you? Are you not in the world? And since you are, does this not mean that both you and your statement are an illusion? If the one who talks is an illusion and that which is talked about is illusion, then talking also is illusion. This being the case, everything becomes Satya because the one who talks and what is talked about belong to the same category. If everything is illusion, where is Satya? Thus, you can call everything Satya or you can call it illusion. In Buddhism, everything is Mithya and therefore Mithya is Satya. To say everything is Mithya means that everything becomes Satya. Therefore, words like illusion, delusion, and so on simply do not convey what is intended unless there is an understanding of what Satya is and what Mithya is. I think here we have to follow recall that example of um, where the elephant, um, where one sage was saying everything is mithya, and when there was the elephant came running, or everyone started running, and later on people asked, "Why did you run when everything is mithya? Why did you run?" So he said, "My run was also mithya." I hope you are able to recall, right, that example.
Yes, yeah, very correct.
Mhm. I will just read this once again. To say the world is an illusion is itself an illusion. The very concept is an illusion. If you consider the world an illusion, where does that leave you? Are you not in the world? And since you are, does this not mean that both you and your statement are an illusion? If the one who talks is an illusion and that which is talked about is illusion, then talking also is illusion. This being the case, everything becomes Satya because the one who talks and what is talked about belong to the same category. If everything is illusion, where is Satya? Thus, you can call everything Satya or you can call it illusion. In Buddhism, everything is Mithya and therefore Mithya is Satya. To say everything is Mithya means that everything becomes Satya. Therefore, words like illusion, delusion, and so on simply do not convey what is intended unless there is an understanding of what Satya is and what Mithya is. To appreciate their meanings, you must know Vedanta, which means you must know what the statement Tat Tvamasi means. And unless you know Tat Tvamasi, you will not understand Tat Tvam Asi. Thus, we have an interesting paradox here. If you already know Tattvamasi, you need not study Tattvam Asi. And if you do not know Tattvam Asi, how are you going to understand Tattvam Asi? It is for this reason that one needs a lot of Shraddha and a teacher who is well established in the knowledge. It is not a simple matter. To study Vedanta requires Shraddha. Otherwise, it will have no meaning whatsoever. So, here comes the role of the Guru, one who is Brahmanishta. When he is saying Tattvamasi, then you follow that and with Shraddha, and you remain stable in your all the actions, whether it is a practice, seva, sadhana. So, this is very important line, the takeaway. To study Vedanta requires Shraddha. So, our Shraddha should be like Prahlada or Dhruva. Yeah, please do share wherever you, if it is convenient to. Vedanta as a pramana. Vedanta can never be the subject matter of academic pursuit because it is based purely upon Shraddha. The Shraddha is in the Shastra as a pramana for which supporting logic is given. Only when Vedanta is looked upon as a pramana, a means of knowledge, does it have a value, otherwise, it has none. I read once again. Vedanta can never be the subject matter of academic pursuit because it is based purely upon Shraddha. The Shraddha is in the Shastra as a pramana for which supporting logic is given. Only when Vedanta is looked upon as a pramana, a means of knowledge, does it have a value. Otherwise, it has none. When I say Vedanta is a pramana, you have no way of proving that it is not a pramana because one pramana cannot be dismissed by another pramana. This is because for a pramana to be dismissed by another pramana, it should be within the scope of the other pramana. But what a particular pramana makes you know is not available for verification or dismissal by another pramana. For example, when I see an object as yellow and it is really blue, only the eyes can disqualify what I saw as wrong. I may still see the object in the same way, but the eyes alone have to say, not the ears, that it is not yellow, it is blue. Due to some problem in the eyes, I may not be able to see it as blue. No other pramana has a scope here. So, when the object is yellow, you don't need the ears to confirm that. If you are not able to see the yellow object as yellow, then it is something wrong with your perception. Once a pramana is accepted as an independent pramana, then it has to prove itself as a pramana, as a means of knowledge. For it to do so, you have to give the pramana a chance. If you do not give the pramana a chance, you should not talk against it. You cannot establish that a means of knowledge is not a pramana just by talking about it. This is an unreasonable position to take, and a person who knows it as a pramana will have no interest in refuting such a stance. You have not allowed the pramana to prove itself to you. A reasonable stance can only be taken after you have analyzed the pramana and worked with it. But you can only do this if you accept it as a pramana in the first place. And to do this requires shraddha. Therefore, when you work with it with shraddha, it works. Only then can it prove itself.
So there are two examples here. One is very beautiful, is
Mhm.
what Gurudev was talking about in Ashtavakra Gita. Vedanta is not a matter of academic pursuit. So he very beautifully talked about two concepts. One is curiosity and another is wonder. He said curiosity is the beginning of science, whereas wonder is the beginning of spirituality. So with respect to Vedanta, you begin with that wonder. Only when you start wondering can you even enter the portals of Vedanta. Number one, because it is nothing. It is not to satisfy your curious mind. A curiosity will continue to have um, it would want proof, and that is what science is all about. Academics is all about that. It's about proving things, and we've seen time and again that whatever has been proved earlier has been disproved now. For example, atoms. I know this is a little bit of a deviation. Atoms earlier, when we studied in school, they were supposed to have a nucleus and an electron surrounding it, going around it. But now all that is disproved. So this would continue in science, but whereas with respect to Vedanta, with respect to spirituality, what is talked of is the truth, and that truth is unchanging. So only when a person has even a little bit the eligibility to get into Vedanta is that Shraddha. And then um, how do you prove Vedanta? You need to give it a chance. Here, what the example that comes to me is, I think we read it in the very beginning, is about how there is a piece of wool that is woven, that is handed over by the grandmother to her daughter, and her daughter to the mother tells the daughter, this is what your grandmother gave me. And the grandmother actually has been given by her grandmother. So it goes on. So if this granddaughter now asks, show me the proof that it was done by my grandmother, where is the proof? It is only Shraddha. That yes, this was given to me by my mother, and it has been handed down over. So if this daughter now who requires proof, show me how, whether it was done by my grandmother, you cannot really prove it. You just have to have Shraddha in that.
Hmm. Very beautiful.
So
कुछ
that
जान के चलो मान के चलो.
yeah, and that is how this guru also. How did you need a guru? Yes. So this guru has had a guru, and that guru has had another guru. So So this Guru Parampara has evolved. Now, if you ask question, okay, who is the first Guru? Show me, prove me who the first Guru is. So therefore, that that requires an element of Shraddha. And I think as we read further, we've read this again yesterday. When we read further, we understand that this is what every human is searching for, is seeking freedom, is seeking that fullness. That is what Vedanta is saying. Vedanta says you are full. So even if we look at our own pursuit, that is what we want. And that is what Vedanta is showing. So rather than refute it and say, oh, only if you prove to me, then I will believe, then it is pointless. So even to begin the study, to enter into the portals of Vedanta, requires that Shraddha. The other example is that of the person who's underwent eye surgery and he is refusing to open his eye bands to see when the doctor is saying, only if you open your eyes, you have to open your eyes to see whether the operation is successful. This fellow is refusing. He says, you prove to me I'm able to see, only then I will open my eyes. Then it's a deadlock. So he should have Shraddha in the faith of the surgeon. Say, okay, I believe you. I will open my eyes. Only when he opens his eyes can then he see or not see, whatever, to prove or disprove.
Brahmaraji, there was a sentence in the previous paragraphs that when everything is mithya, then everything is satya. So is there that Nanaji's explanation as though will help, right? In that sentence meaning?
Yeah, no, but that is wrong knowledge, wrong logic, no? That whole paragraph is about saying how you can misunderstand what the Shastra.
Misunderstand, yeah.
Misunderstand. Example is,
That
if the door is half open, it is half closed. Correct. Does that mean if the door is fully closed, it is fully open? No. That is wrong knowledge, wrong logic, right? So
correct.
the unfortunately Buddhist thinking is that everything is mithya, everything is emptiness. So Atma is empty. So that is what was their understanding. It was only Shankara who was able to refute that and say, who is it who's saying Atma is empty? Who is it who's saying Atma is nothing? That is you. So that whole paragraph is just to as an example of is to illustrate what how wrong
Misunderstanding.
understanding, yeah, understanding can get us into a soup. That is why we have these prakarana granthas. the Tattva Bodh and Atma Bodh, to give us definitions. So, see, again, this knowledge itself is layered. It's a very layered knowledge. How much of the Shastra we understand, what meaning is intended by a sentence. For example, Tattvamasi. To the level you already know, your understanding will be there. For a person who is not an initiate into Vedanta, who's not exposed to this knowledge at all, Tattvamasi will mean silly. He says, how can I be that? I can see my body, I am. I can feel this pain. I am this. So he will not be able to even grasp that. But for a person who is exposed to this knowledge, little by little, then the level and the depth of understanding depends on your own previous knowledge. If, for instance, Bhagavad Gita was given to Duryodhana, would you think he would have understood anything? Even have questions and doubts like Arjuna had? He would not, because his mind was not ready and prepared. So even as, I can speak for myself, how my understanding was 4 years ago to what it is now, I can see a bit of a difference. I will not say I'm understanding exactly what the Shastra is intending to, but there is a deeper level of understanding. So it's just like that onion peel. You go on, it's like layer by layer, layer by layer. Or rather the lotus petals. So it keeps unfolding little by little.
Very true for every one of us, yeah. And every time some new meaning happens, every time, even though it is the same paragraph,
Yeah,
and that wow feeling happens.
yeah. And we spoke about this yesterday. Therefore, it's important to see when you're following one train of knowledge, one school of thought, one sampradaya, then your ability to be successful, if I can use the word, will be greater. If you, that's why Gurudev says you dig deep at one place. Don't dig several 10 different places, that they're only shallow wells. So follow one school of thought, because otherwise then our understanding will become very superficial. It will not attain the depth that it has to attain. All the ISKCON, um, uh, people in ISKCON, they're all Dvaitis. Same with BAPs. For them, they don't think, if you tell them Tattvamasi, that's silly for them. For them, how can we be God? So therefore, we have to be a little discerning in this. It's not like we're disrespecting them. Absolutely not. Everyone has their right to follow whatever they wish to. We're not getting into that aspect at all. It is that having been exposed to the Advaita philosophy, and we're all followers of Advaita, we will have to be mindful of not getting caught up um, by the other schools of thought. But we should be aware of this. I think in the 18th chapter, there's a lot of this that Shankaracharya brings up. Swamiji's brought up that Pratipaksha Bhavana. He talks of being a Karma Kandi versus a Jnana Kandi, a person following Jnana. So therefore, this debate that happens, with that viveka, we will have to be a little careful not to wrongly step into another school of thought and get caught up there. And then what will be left in our mind is only confusion.
Yeah, but if you have that Shraddha and Bhakti in what your Guru has said, then although I can give my own example, like my brother, he is a strong Babs devotee, my cousin. But right now he's reading Kathopanishad and we have very beautiful discussions, both of us. It is not like when you know that what you are doing is correct, and when he knows what he's doing is correct, then there is no confusion. It happens like a beautiful communication. We discuss. Mhm. Very nice.
Yeah.
May I stop here? Anyone has to share, please. I will just say Shanti Mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanastu. Jai Gurudev.